we'd like to invite Henry Segerstrom to come forward and share a few thoughts that he has on behalf of the family and myself.
Well, thank you very much, David and Martin and everyone who's here. I think one of the great aspects of the South Coast Repertory Theater is the respect and admiration that each individual in this room and the board and the staff and everybody associated with the South Coast Repertory Theater has. On behalf of every member of the Segerstrom family, I'd like to say thank you for this recognition. And I would like to ask all of the family members who are here if you'd stand so we can thank you. It's a great team, and I want you to know we think and act as a team. I'm going to ask you to indulge me just a second and go back in my memory of some of the first incidents around this 30th anniversary. In 1974, we were constructing this hotel. It was under construction. And we had just finished grading the mounds on the park in front of the hotel. And they stretched across the flood control channel, which was delineating this property. And this was a construction site. So one day in 1974, I had a call from Tom Peckinpah, and Tom said, Henry, I'd like to come over and see you about an issue, about a public project that I'm involved in. So he and Herb Kendall came over to see me, and I didn't know what they were thinking, and I had seen some of the plays down the Peninsula Point and in Costa Mesa, and had a great respect for the SCR. But they said, would South Coast Plaza give some land for a permanent home of the Repertory Theater? And I said, well, why did you come to South Coast Plaza? This was the entity that owned the land. And they said, well, we did a market survey. And I said, what's your market survey? And they said, we got a map and we plotted where the residents of each person who was a season subscriber lived. And I thought that was a pretty down-to-earth, practical way of making your market survey. And they said, we find that 50% of our audience live north of the 405 freeway and 50% live south. So that was the way the deal was cut, as you might say. And the Segerstrom family have been immensely proud of what's been brought here. You have done such a great job. After the land was conveyed, of course, the money had to be raised. So many of you probably don't know this, but Carl Karcher headed up the fundraising campaign, and we had Harriet Whitmer and Walter Gherkin and Jimmy Roosevelt was one of our group. And Carl was very disciplined. He always had his breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning. At a certain point in time, it was necessary to evaluate the cost of a building. And I was told what the estimate was, and I said, does that include the architect's fee? And the answer was, oh, we forgot that. So I asked if I could call on a friend of mine to see if we couldn't get some understanding of construction. And Don Christensen came to the rescue. And Don, for your many years of support on the design, I'd like to thank you. To come more contemporary, Elizabeth and I have just returned from a trip to China, and we came back with an immense respect for that culture. One of the things in the Chinese culture that we learned was that the number 8 is considered very, very lucky. And in case you missed it, the Olympics started on the 8th day of the 8th month of the 8th year of the century. It was very purposely planned for 10 years. So I got to thinking about the SCR, and the SCR opened in '78, won the Tony Award in '88, was the beneficiary of additional land area from South Coast Plaza that they requested, and that was announced in 1998. And in 1998, we announced that we were South Coast Plaza was providing additional land for the Orange County Museum of Art to move over here from Newport Beach. That was completed in 2008. And so Segerstrom Center for the Arts is now a complete entity. I would like to look 30 years in advance, because that'll be 2038, the same distance from the beginning that we now enjoy. And hope that SCR can continue its strength and vibrance and vitality in not only leading its own organization, but collaborating with the other arts organizations in Segerstrom Center for the Arts for the benefit of our community, because we have something great going here, and it's just going to get better and better. So thank you for your thanks, and thank you for everything you do for our community.